Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Democracy 3. My name's Root Negative and let's get cracking with another episode. Now, we've got some things happening. One of our cabinet ministers wants to talk to us urgently in private. This can't be good. Tired of serving in your government and may wish to leave their position and possibly politics altogether. Farmers and conservatives. Yeah, well, no. Ban same-sex marriage. Allow same-sex marriages. This is one of the very, very interesting things about Australian politics. The interesting thing, right, is we have representative democracy. That means that the people that get elected are representing their constituents. Okay, fair enough. Here's the thing, right? 70% of Australia supports same-sex marriage. In the parliament, it's something like 30%. Ergo, our democracy isn't very representative, at least not on this issue. The problem is that the majority of politicians tend to be conservative, they tend to be religious, and religion really gets in the way of good governance, I think. When religion starts to shape policy, that's bad. And it's not... I don't mind that religion creates a person's morals, because religion has a lot of good ideas as to how a person should act and should treat other people to a certain extent. However, it shouldn't really come into the political arena. So we are going to allow marriages because there is no good reasons to ban such marriages. It is no business of the state to interfere in the relationships between loving couples regardless of their gender. Placing a ban on the kind of relationships our citizens can form is an unforgivable intrusion into our people's private lives. And it's looking like in Australia, same-sex marriage will become a thing eventually. Right now, Tony Abbott is one of the most stiff-necked, reactionary, conservative, liberal leaders ever. And basically, he's the only thing that's stopping it right now. And he said, oh, I'm going to take it to an election, I'm going to take it to the people. Let the people decide. Which is fair enough, because he's going to get his ass voted out if he decides to stand against that issue. But I think he's politically more savvy than that. So, it's still having a negative impact. You can see that the global economy is just crashing. However, I have managed to turn around our income situation. So, expenditure is held, and we've increased our income, which means we have a surplus. Which means that the debt is now going to start falling, maybe a little bit. And that's all off the back of the petrol tax. Now, that's the good news. The bad news is nobody likes us. Everybody hates us. I have to go eat some worms. So, right now, we're seeing the asthma epidemic. We're fighting that down. This is something that I do want to improve, because I want to see if I can just get this off my list. Alcohol consumption is still there, and it's not really doing anything. It's costing us a lot of money too, which is the other thing. It's costing us in crime. The state health service is having to wear that, and it's just, it's very, very high. You can see that alcohol consumption is declining because of the law and the tax. Now, alcohol law, this is going to take a little bit of time to come into effect. The minimum drinking age, I've raised that so that we can now, it's only open to 21 and above. So anyone who's 21 can drink, anyone who's under 21 can't drink. You can see here is where we changed the alcohol law. So it'll start taking effect, and it's going to draw quite heavily on... Wow, that's actually having a positive effect to our GDP. However, it's also having a positive effect to both poverty and unemployment. So I'll be interested to see what happens with these two. Now, poverty has increased somewhat, and unemployment also has increased. So that's not great. However, what we can do is, I'm thinking... There was someone, she was bitching. You were bitching. right now I have no core supporter base, really. See, the Liberals don't like me. The Socialists are like, yeah, so what? Why would Socialists not like that? I wonder. Let's have a look at policies and see if there are anything we can do here to improve our standing with the people. Oh, it cost a lot of money. I want to do it. Eventually, it has to happen. Luxury goods tax, no. Not really any of those. Art subsidies, I don't think so. Oh, here we go. This is actually something that's currently being debated in South Australia. They're talking about maybe taking nuclear waste and storing it in some of the vast tracts of desert land that we have. And it's an interesting little situation. However, that should be income, because the countries that need it, we're going to pay for it. Water conservation? No, I don't think so. Community policing. I think that maybe the Discrimination Act is something I need to do. Clean fuel subsidies. Ooh, here we go. This looks pretty good. I could do both fuel efficiency standards and the, what's that one? That's 10. Yeah, I could do fuel efficiency and clean fuel. Let's do these both. Let's drop that down to say 250. Oh, we're not going to quite get there. That's all right. Let's just go on the edge of low. There we go. We'll apply that. Yeah, that's going to have some nice effects. So that's a clean fuel subsidy. Now the other one we want to do is the fuel efficiency standards. Now this is going to upset the capitalists, but such is life. Do I... Yeah, let's do it to max. Why not? Costs us nothing. Alrighty, that's that. Let's play... let's go to the next turn and see what we've done. Nobel Prize. One of our brightest citizens has won the Nobel Prize. Nice. So that that's added a few things. Ooh, surplus of 7 billion now. So we possibly need to look at some popular measures to try and get our popularity up. As you can see, our relative GDP is actually starting to really increase, which is nice. Debt is under control because the income is under control, and the interest rate is nice. It's sitting stable. So let's have a look and see what our popularity is now. 16.5. Nice. Where? Oh! No, I thought it had gone away. Why does a clean environment impact on your GDP, I wonder? Well, it's going in the right direction anyway. That is all heading in the right direction. The Liberals have gone up. Yeah, you can see they've improved. The Patriots improved as well. Socialist is sitting steady. Interesting. What shall we do next? Oh, okay. Unemployment. Let's see what's happening here. It's hard to affect these bigger things. There's only really so much you can do by playing around on the edges. Okay, that's starting to fall, which means that the alcohol tax income is going to fall as well as a part of that. But hopefully alcohol abuse is going to start falling. Because that would be good if we could get alcohol abuse off the list. You know, with a surplus of 7 billion. Yep, it's a thing. It's 5 billion per quarter. Every street. Let's do it. Now we're going to pay for it. Oh dear. Yeah, this will be interesting because you can see fibre optic internet is now accounted for, and it's one of the top items. Wow, that would be interesting to see Australia have overwhelming force. What else is there? State Health Service. Sun prevention? Really, that would have to go up, if anything. State pensions. I think that would probably... If we drop that, that's going to cause problems. Because that's a favourite of the Socialist Party. It's one of their things that they like the most. What else is there? There's really not much else. Can't, but we'll keep that one in mind because we could drop that completely. Righty, next turn. I could get thrown out after one term. Euthanasia. Here's an interesting one. Once famous citizen, age 66, is suffering from a terminal disease and living in constant severe pain. Although modern medical techniques can keep him alive for many more years, he has expressed a repeated desire to be allowed to take his own life. This is something interesting because in Australia there's this very curious mix of religion and conservativeness, and then kind of progressive people that are very, very modern in their approach to life. And euthanasia is something that is currently illegal. You can't do it, and it's not going to be a topic for discussion in Australia for a while yet, because we've got same-sex marriage, we've got issues with relatively minor issues with our immigration, with our economy, they're the things that are currently in the nation's kind of frame of mind. Euthanasia is something that isn't really talked about because it's not really an issue right now for the majority of people. Having said that, I can only really fall back on my own beliefs. It is incredibly cruel to keep people living in permanent pain when there is no hope of recovery, and they have already expressed a will not to carry on with their life. As modern medical technology advances, this is going to be more common as we are able to keep people alive in pain or in coma for many years. Or everyone has sympathy for those involved in these situations, but changing the law is the wrong decision. This would be the thin edge of the wedge. Once the principle of helping people to die is in law, the pressure will be on anyone with a terminal condition, especially where medical care is expensive. Don't change the law. So the two sides of the story here are, firstly, obviously, help someone to die if they're in incredible pain. The other side is that you don't want to legalise it, otherwise you'll have people dying that don't really need to. And I think that is where the debate will lie. Much like abortion was so controversial it's still controversial. How do you control it? I'm going to say allow it, especially with cancer. Cancer is a horrible, horrible disease, and cancer is something that, when a person has lived a good life, they deserve to die well. Moving on to more exciting topics. No, not exciting. More enjoyable topics. We see that I've maintained a surplus somehow. Don't know how. It's because our income has actually rose as well. So the fibre optic internet is currently being implemented with some big increases in productivity. Look at that productivity. That's going to go through the roof, and the technology is going to go through the roof. How good is that? And unemployment is going to fall. So once we can turn that around, let's have a look back at fibre optic technology. So wind energy and solar power are going to improve. The education productivity will go up because of that. Nice. And productivity. Yeah, that'll have a nice effect there. It's going to increase our GDP, and the uncompetitive economy is going to go down. Alright, so that turned out to be a really, really good move. Well, it's turned around. Car usage should actually reduce as a function of the NBN. How's this doing? Oh, it's starting to fall. I do need that screen. Alcohol consumption is falling, which is good. The alcohol tax, though, is probably an issue. And we've fought it up to 19.2%. So I think that I'll end this episode here. Thank you very much for joining me, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode of Democracy 3.